So many of you have asked for a video that shows where in the Siril workflow to use the new VeraLux scripts. And that's exactly what this video is for. At the time of recording, there are 5 VeraLux scripts available for us to use. I'm only going to be covering 4 of them because the 5th one is the VeraLux Alchemy script, which is for narrowband normalization and palette mixing. And we're working with broadband data today, so we're not doing anything with narrowband. We're not trying to create an SHO palette or anything like that. So the Alchemy script will not be covered in this video, but I do have plans on creating another workflow video that will cover all 5 of the VeraLux scripts, including the Alchemy one, and obviously we'll be using narrowband data in that video to get that workflow put together. So let's get started. My name is Rich, and you're watching Deep Space Astro. So before we get started, I'm going to be using a number of scripts in this video. Obviously the VeraLux scripts. We're going to be using VeraLux Silentium, Hypermetric Stretch, Star Composer, and Vectra. Other scripts in this video that I'm going to be using are Auto BGE, Cosmic Clarity Sharpen, and HDR Multiscale. So if you don't already have those scripts installed and configured, you're going to want to make sure that you do so before following along with the video. I'm sure you already know if you're here, but Get Scripts is where you can select and install all of the scripts that I just mentioned. So my current working directory, as you can see up top here, is set to my Pleiades folder, which is where my final stacked image resides. So we're just going to open up the Pleiades, come out of a linear view and go into Auto Stretch, and we'll start processing. So this video is just intended to show you guys where in the workflow to use the new VeraLux scripts. It's not meant to teach you how to use them. If you need a deep dive on each of the scripts that I'm using in this video, I have tutorials for each of them, and I'll leave those linked in the description below for you as well. But again, we're not going to go through how to use each of the scripts. We're just going to show you where to use each of the scripts. So again, this is my raw stack. And the first thing that we want to do is give it a crop to get rid of our stacking artifacts. So I'm just going to draw a selection, right click, crop, and then crop. The next thing that we're going to do is a plate solve. So we're going to come up into Tools, Astrometry, Image Plate Solver, and click OK. Image is plate solved, and now we're going to do a background extraction. Now I'm going to use Auto BGE like I mentioned before, but there's nothing wrong if you want to come up into image processing and use the background extraction tool built into Siril, or if you want to come up into scripts and Python scripts and then processing, you can also use the background extraction in Graxpert. I am going to use Auto BGE, but like I mentioned, any 3 of those are valid options, so dealer's choice, whichever one you want to use. I'll just run with the default settings and click process. And now that the background extraction is complete, we can close the script. And now we're going to move to the color calibration. So image processing, color calibration, and then spectrophotometric color calibration. This image was shot with my Player One Poseidon C camera that has the IMX 571 sensor, and I also use the Optilong L Pro filter. So those settings are good. I'm going to click OK, and color calibration will be complete in just a second. Close our plot files, and then close SPCC. At this point, while we're still in the linear state, I like to do some sharpening, both stellar and non-stellar. And again, if you want to do your sharpening using Graxpert, you can come into Python scripts processing, and you can use the Graxpert AI integration. But again, I'm going to be using Cosmic Clarity Sharpen. Select both, and I am going to increase my non-stellar amount, so that's the amount of sharpening it does on the object itself, and I'm going to leave the stellar amount for the stars at the 0.5 and click apply. Okay, sharpening is complete, so closing the script, and now we are ready to run our first VeraLux script, and that is VeraLux Silentium, which is for our denoising. So I'm going to come up into Scripts, Python Scripts, VeraLux, and then VeraLux Silentium. And I'm just going to select a region of interest to get zoomed up in there a little bit and allow the tool to run a little bit quicker during the preview. And just check my before and after using my spacebar. Maybe I'll bump this up just a little bit, 0.60. Let it regenerate down on the bottom here. Once it's complete, then we can take a look at it before and after again. And scroll over. I just want to look at these filaments to see how they're being affected. Make sure I'm not losing too much detail. I think I'm going to bump up the detail guard to say 70%. Let it regen again, and before and after. Okay, so I think that looks good, and we'll just click process to have it applied to the image loaded in Siril. Okay, the denoising is completed, and I am just going to click my save button just to make sure all those processes that we went through are actually saved to the file. And our next step now is to remove the stars. So come up into image processing, star processing, and then StarNet star removal. Make sure pre-stretch linear image is selected and generate star mask, and click execute. All right, stars have been removed, and we're going to come out of an auto stretch view and go into a linear view. And then we're ready to run the second VeraLux script, which is the hypermetric stretch. So up in scripts, Python scripts, VeraLux hypermetric stretch. And the first thing we're going to do is bring up our live preview and make the adjustments to our liking. So default's 0.2 from a previous run. As I was going through preparing for this video, I found that 0.12 works well. So if I hit my auto button, that's what I'm going to end up with. I'm not crazy about that, so I am going to disable my adaptive anchor and hit the auto button again. And that's more of the look that I was going for. So at this point, I'm ready to hit process. Now, I know a lot of people have run into this in the past, so I've got this set up to emulate a problem that I know some of you have seen as you're using the hypermetric stretch, and that is when you get your preview looking the way that you want it to, and then you hit process, and it applies these settings to your image loaded in Siril. You expect it to look like it does in the preview, but instead it's a lot brighter, different colors. It's not what's in the preview. So the reason this happens is because you have a color management profile assigned to this image, and the preview does not use that profile. So the way to fix it is, first of all, let me close the preview. I'm going to undo the stretch and come down here in the bottom left hand corner. You can tell the colors are bright on this button. If there wasn't a profile assigned, it would be kind of grayed out. It's still colorful, it's just kind of toned down. But regardless, if you click the profile button, you can see current ICC profile that I have assigned. This is what's causing the problem for me. Now, you could have a different one installed. It doesn't specifically have to be this one, but the way to correct this is either select one of the two sRGB profiles if you do want to manage your color, or what I've been doing is I just remove the profile itself. Click close. Again, if you look at this button, you can see what I was talking about. It's dimmed down now because there is no profile assigned. So now if I come back to my live preview, hit my auto button again to make sure everything is in order, and now when I click process, this time the image will look just like it does in the preview for me. All right, so we're done with hypermetric stretch, so we can close that. At this point, if you feel that you need to, you can come into image processing, stretches, and then curves, and just apply some curves to the image. Maybe I just want to bring my background down a little bit darker than what I had HMS set it to. Pull up the brights just a slight bit. So you can play around with your curves, like I said, if you need to. What I like to do a lot of the times, just to see the effect that it has on the image, is come up into image processing under filters, and then contrast limited adaptive histogram equalization. This tends to give you a nice contrast in the image. Basically just play with the tiles grid size. I mean, if you go way over here, it's going to be out of control. It's not anything that we're looking for, but I click through, the default is 8. Generally 8 does good, but somewhere on either side of that, a couple less or a couple more might give you a better look for what you're going for. I'm going to leave it at 8, be happy with that. Click apply to apply. Make sure you click your save button if you've made any further adjustments to the star list. And now we're ready to add the stars back in. So we'll come up in the scripts, Python scripts, VeraLux, and VeraLux Star Composer. We're going to load the star mask, which is named star mask. This is when we ran the StarNet tool to remove the stars. And then load the starless image, which is the one we were just working on. For this particular image, I'm going to use screen because if I use linear, it tends to mess with these large stars within the Pleiades. Make sure that I have my correct sensor selected, which again, in my case, I have the IMX571, and then just start stretching in the stars. Now you can see, if we zoom in here, there's some ringing or haloing going on. So what I found in this situation, I mean, you could play with the color grip and try to bring those down, but what I prefer to do is leave the color grip, the vibrance, where it should be, and come into our show star surgery options, and under optical healing, if I just bump this over a couple, you can see how it's starting to tame them down. I think 3 is probably going to put me where I'll be happy, maybe 4. I'm going to call that good, and just click on process, and it'll add the stars back into our starless image for us. So at this point, since we use the Star Composer, it has created a new file and it's named it VeraLux Star Composer Result. So that's what we're working with right now. Now I'm going to use the HDR multiscale script. So under scripts, Python scripts, processing, and HDR multiscale. And we'll do a fit to preview. Again, I've played with this to come up with the best settings for myself for this set of data. Depending on your data, most of the time the defaults work well, but for this particular image, I ended up setting my scales to 2, my compression to 3.5, and I'm just using my arrow keys to make those incremental adjustments that are hard to do with the slider, and left the gamma at 5. So I can click preview. Once it's generated, we'll get a preview over here on the side, and then I can say show original and show preview. It's subtle, but I like the effect that it gives it. So I'm happy with that. I'm going to click apply to Siril, and it'll apply those settings to the image that we have loaded in Siril. Click OK, and then close the HDR script. So now that brings us to our final step in our final VeraLux script in this video, and that is VeraLux Vectra. So we're going to come up into scripts, Python scripts, VeraLux, and VeraLux Vectra. And this is just your color grading. Make your final tweaks to it. What I like doing with this one, specifically after coming out of HMS, a lot of times the color can look really vivid, almost oversaturated. And we do have the option in that script to back that color down a little bit. But now that we have Vectra, I don't even worry about it. I'll make my final adjustments with the color grading tool instead of messing with the default settings that keep our data true to the sensor when stretching. Not a lot of different colors going on in this image, but I will make adjustments to my blue. And again, that's a little bit too much for me as far as the vividness of the blue. So I'm gonna start just by taking the saturation down slightly, give it more of a softer look. And then I'm gonna come over to my secondary vectors with my hue shift, and let's turn on the vector scope so we can see. And I'm going to move the hue more towards the blue because the cyan in this image is kind of like around the edges, and then maybe just bump that saturation up a little bit. And again, spacebar shows you before and after. Keep an eye on your background. If the adjustments that you're making are having any effect on your background, then you can increase your shadow authority, and leave white star integrity on because again, it'll protect specifically the larger stars, so the cores of the stars don't start taking on the hue shifts and saturations that you're making. So I'm going to call this one good as well. Click on process, and then again, the Star Composer created a new file for us, so this one is called VeraLux Star Composer Results, and that's the final image. If after putting the stars in and doing your color correction, you want to do maybe a little bit more curves adjustments for whatever reason, you can go ahead and do that. There's nothing wrong with doing some additional tweaking to the image. But again, that's the complete workflow with using the scripts within the VeraLux suite. All right, so like I mentioned, a lot of you are asking me for this video, so I hope that it's helpful for everybody that sees it. If you have any questions, as always, leave them in the comments. Like I said, I'll be doing a second workflow video with some narrowband data so we can incorporate the Alchemy script in there as well. So make sure you subscribe and have your notification bells turned on so you don't miss that one. Before you go, I want to say thanks to all of my members here on YouTube and on Buy Me a Coffee. I appreciate everybody's support. If you want to help support the channel, consider becoming a member. All members get access to my Siril 1.4 beginner's guide, as well as having your name displayed at the end of all the videos. Other ways to support the channel is I do have affiliate links down in the description. So if you make a purchase using one of those links, I get a small commission. It doesn't cost you guys anything to use it. And then last but not least, Deep Space Astro merchandise. I've got t-shirts and jackets and coffee cups and stickers. That's another great way of supporting the channel, and you get something back in return doing it that way as well. So once again, I appreciate everybody's time. We'll see you on the next video, and clear skies.